Many parents quietly assume something when they begin researching private schools. They assume that most of the students being admitted are already coming from other private schools. Because when families visit school websites or attend open houses, they often notice something that feels a little intimidating. Many of the students already attending those schools seem to have been there for years. Some started in kindergarten, others joined in elementary school, and parents sometimes begin wondering something uncomfortable. Did we start this process too late to enter the system? Can public school students actually get into private school? At first glance, the question may seem a little surprising. Of course, public school students can apply to private schools. But the reason many parents ask this question has less to do with the application process itself and more to do with what they observe when they start researching schools. When families visit private school websites or attend admissions events, they often notice something that can feel a little intimidating. And occasionally, parents begin wondering whether the admissions process quietly favors students who are already part of the private school system. They may start asking themselves questions like, are we too late to apply? Do most private schools mainly accept students from other private schools? Will our child be at a disadvantage because they're currently in public school? These questions are extremely common and they are completely understandable. Because from the outside, private school communities can sometimes appear very established and interconnected. Families see students who have been together for years. They see parents who seem to already know one another. And it can sometimes create the impression that the admissions process is a closed system that is difficult for new families to enter. But the reality is often quite different from what many parents imagine. Every year, private schools admit many students who are currently attending public schools. In fact, for many independent schools, welcoming students from a variety of educational backgrounds is actually an important part of building a strong and dynamic student community. Admissions committees are not typically trying to admit only students who already attend private school. Instead, they are trying to identify students who appear likely to thrive in the academic environment of their particular school. They look at a student's academic record. They consider teacher recommendations. They review testing results. They speak with the student during the interview process. And they evaluate how the student and family might contribute to the broader community. The type of school a student currently attends is rarely the deciding factor in that evaluation. What matters far more is whether the student's academic preparation and learning profile appear to align with the expectations of the school. In fact, many private schools appreciate the perspective that students from public schools bring into their classrooms. These students often arrive with diverse academic experiences, different extracurricular interests, and a wide range of perspectives that enrich the overall learning environment. So while it's natural for families to wonder whether coming from public school creates a disadvantage, admissions committees are usually evaluating something much more nuanced. They are trying to determine whether the student will succeed academically and contribute meaningfully to the school community. And that evaluation has far more to do with the student's preparation, curiosity, and character than it does with the label of the school they currently attend. Understanding that perspective can often bring families a great deal of relief because it shifts the focus away from worrying about where a student currently goes to school and instead encourages families to focus on what truly matters during the admissions process, helping their child demonstrate strong academic habits, supporting their growth as a thoughtful and engaged learner, and approaching the admissions process with a clear understanding of how schools actually evaluate applicants. When families begin viewing the process through that lens, the path into private school often feels far more accessible than it initially appeared.